Hey guys, welcome. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another INFJ Ramble. Today I'm gonna make a video on I'm gonna be really frank. People who don't know how to apologize. Have you encountered these people? It's so strange to me. I think because for most of my life I have apologized and I have taken people's experiences and feelings into consideration, and I have blamed myself for a lot of the imbalances in the interactions, not knowing that it wasn't me. That's what happens when you're young and you're so kind of learning, and you're not sure on what's going on quite yet. And then when you get older, you're like, oh, I see. I'm not really the problem here. In fact, I've never been the problem. I mean, we do have habits that we participate in that probably doesn't help the problem either. Like for instance, enabling bad behavior. I did that, and then overextending and people pleasing. Yes, I know I sound like a broken record if you've been watching my channel for some time, but it's important to be aware of these things so we can shift the dynamic. Yeah, so as I get older, I'm doing the inner work, and I'm realizing that my participation in the relationships, where I've gone wrong and where I have erred and what I need to change, and I'm making the changes. Now when I interact with similar people, I'm just like, okay, I know I'm not the problem. So I don't think I should apologize because I've been apologizing my whole life. You know what? Apologizing for mistreatment? Like what? It just doesn't make sense. There's a lot of things that don't make sense, and you need to be aware of these things. Sorry, I have I think my voice is weird because I kind of just woke up. Yeah. So if it sounds weird, that's why. Um, I don't get it. So let's unravel this together so we can understand the reason why people don't know how to apologize. I mean, there's so many different angles to it. But for me, not only do I want to unravel why people have a hard time apologizing, I also want to unravel how to deal with these things, because it becomes quite an irritant, honestly, if I were to be completely honest. You know what happens? Let me paint a picture for you. So normally when I interact with somebody who doesn't know how to apologize, they end up, well, first of all, they're probably unaware of their disrespect and lack of consideration. Okay? And they do something that I deem disrespectful. And so I speak on it. And when I speak on it, these people get defensive. Like you're the problem for speaking up for yourself. And I'm like, no, I'm not the problem here. I said, what you did is absolutely disrespectful. And right now, you are gaslighting me into believing that I'm the problem. And you are not taking accountability and responsibility for what you just did. And then I've had people go into victim mentality. Oh, you always, I can never do anything right. You're always telling me this and telling me that. And I'm just like, oh, okay, so now you're gonna play the victim card, and you're gonna use guilt to thwart accountability and responsibility for what you just did, which was obviously disrespectful. You know, it's funny how they'll do that stuff, dude. And I'll be like, why is it so hard for you to say sorry? Why is it so hard for you to take responsibility and accountability for what you just did? And do you realize that you are not only gaslighting me, not only trying to flip this around and manipulate the situation to make me feel like I'm the problem, when I call you out on that behavior, you're going to play the victim card and guilt trip me. No, thank you. Yeah, I might even say stuff like, you know, what I just told you. Like, I've been apologizing my whole life, and I've also been self reflecting my whole life, and I've also been trying to hold things together by balancing problem solving and, whatever. And what have you done? It's just like, I know I'm not the problem. I'm like, are you even aware that you do these things? Are you aware that you don't even apologize? And then have you like come across people who apologize but they don't mean it? I'm just like, at some point, I'm just like, I don't want your apology because it's not followed through with action or change behavior. You know, it's kind of maddening to interact with these people. And at some point, depending on like their position in your life, like how much you want to like mend the relationship, like how important is it? I just feel like at some point, the conversations don't work. We can't force people into self awareness, but we can certainly plant seeds by speaking up. I just kind of limit my interactions, and again, possibly just cut it out, cut it out, cut it out, shut it down, shut it down. You know, again, like in previous videos, it's like you teach people how you want to be treated. And I, by all means, do not go out of my way to cause distress, dis-ease, or I don't go out of my way to cause conflict. These people bring the conflict, and then when I say I don't want the conflict, oh, I'm the problem. It's like these people are must thrive in conflict or something, in chaos. And so when they meet someone who's not about it, it's like you're the problem. I'm like, am I the problem? At some point, it's just like, maybe, I don't know, maybe I am. Maybe I just like peace too much. That's problematic in this particular timeline because everybody just wants to fight. They like it. I feel that. I feel like a lot of people like subscribe to drama and chaos, and they want to fight. And I'm just like not about it. It's funny when you're like you know what I mean? Sorry, I know I shift a lot of my videos. I should work on that. But yeah, it's just like if you're like about peace, it's almost like they don't know how to interact with you, or you trigger them, and so they attack you. And then, like I said, if you're not aware of the dynamic, you're gonna blame yourself, and then you're gonna back down, and you're gonna enable the behavior. It's like for me, it's like no, right now you're disrespecting me, and I am not okay with that. And then, like I said, sometimes they'll go to the next step and like play the victim game and try to make you feel guilty. And then don't fall for it, guys. Don't fall for it. Just stay firm and just say, okay, right now you're playing the victim. I'm like, I'm not okay with that either. Are you aware of your behavior? Are you aware of how you're treating me and probably treating other people? But anyways, yeah, I just feel like people don't know how to apologize because, man, there's so many things to unravel, honestly. It could be upbringing, it could be an identity that they have associated themselves with, like ego identity. Like maybe they think that they're superior and that people need to cower to their needs, regardless of the way they treat you. Maybe it's a power thing. Maybe it's because they're afraid and they're insecure, and that's their way of exerting control over the situation. What else? Why else would they not? They think admitting wrongs is weakness, when in actuality it's a strength. I feel. we are all entitled to our own opinions and perceptions, and I get it. I just feel like a small-minded person limits their like they limit themselves. They limit like how they interact and how they perceive and receive information. So when a person who limits themselves comes across or encounters someone who is open-minded, it's just like you have to ask yourself, like, okay, who is seeing things more clearly in this situation? Is it the person who limits their perception, or is it the person who is very expansive, and can see things from many different angles versus an angle, you know? Yeah, I think you know the answer to that. So somebody who has a limited like frame of mind is coming to you and trying to tell you that you're wrong. I mean, obviously, that's common sense, guy. I don't have to explain that any further. But my whole thing is just like these people, it's crazy. Like, they don't know how to be humble. They don't know how to consider another person's like presence or way of life or being. They just want to dominate and control, and they think apologizing is weakness. And it's just like, it's funny. Like, I also have come across people on the opposing end of the spectrum, who apologize way too much. And it's just like, again, it's about the balance, finding that sweet spot, balance point. It's just like some situations require humility and saying, I'm sorry, and then changing the behavior. And then other times it's just like you really shouldn't apologize, because it really isn't your fault. I used to apologize a lot, not only because I was blaming myself most of the time. It's funny, we blame ourselves and then the other people blame shift. You see how like the opposing dynamic exists? So for me, I'm in this phase of my life where it's just like I'm trying to flip the script. So it's like I spent most of my time apologizing and putting people's needs ahead of my own. Now I'm going to put my needs first, and I probably won't apologize because I've I feel, unless I did something wrong, which I feel like a lot of times I try not to. I think you know what I'm talking about. But I rarely, I seriously don't think I seriously don't think I should be apologizing for abuse or disrespect, period. Or like for chaos that I didn't generate. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, flip the script, guys. Acquire the two sides of the coin, you know? And what do I mean by that? If you look at a coin, there's heads, there's tails. It's not heads or tails, it's heads and tails, and you put it together like a sandwich and you get a whole. So for me, I think I was maybe heads for most of my life. Now I'm tails. And then at the end of my life, I'm pretty sure I'm going to put these two pieces together and peace out. Peace out. But what am I saying? Man, I lost my train of thought. It got super bright in here, didn't it? What happened? Anyways, if you learned something, cool. If you didn't learn anything, that's cool too. Blessings to one and all. Amen.